Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Another day has brought more clarity at quarterback for some spots in the NFL and more uncertainty at others. A day ago, of course, it was Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, Russell Wilson being traded to Denver. Today, another trade. The Washington Commanders have acquired Carson Wentz. So after just 1 year in Indianapolis, the Colts have traded Carson Wentz to the Commanders for 2 third-round picks, and then the team swapped their second-round pick. So essentially, Indy moved up 5 spots from 47 to 42 in round 2 this year. So a couple of third-round picks is what it took for Washington to acquire Carson Wentz, as clearly Indianapolis was not willing to make Carson Wentz their franchise after just 1 season there where they missed the playoffs. Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network did discuss today on the NFL Network why the Commanders settled on Wentz.
The Washington Commanders called every team. They called on Russell Wilson. They would have been involved in the Deshaun Watson situation if his legal situation had moved a little bit quicker. They may have been involved in Jimmy Garoppolo, had his shoulder not needed surgery, and now instead they settle for Carson Wentz for the price of 2 mid-round picks.
Effectively, they jumped. They were interested in everybody. They could have waited on Deshaun Watson. They could have waited on Jimmy Garoppolo. They didn't want to get stuck holding the bag. And it feels like somebody is going to. The more, look, it's musical chairs, man. The more you play, the more people that occupy their seat, or their quarterback at this point, the more likely it is you get stuck holding the bag. Washington was like, we ain't playing with Tyler Heineke again. Let that be somebody else's problem. Let's go after a guy we think can be a starting quarterback and win games for us, who knows our division. Fine. But the question now becomes, you look around the league and you say, right, well, look at the other places that still need quarterbacks. Now, Indianapolis. New Orleans is one of them, obviously. But Indianapolis now needs a quarterback. Here was Ian Rappaport and what the Colts do next.
I would expect them to very much be in the mix for Jimmy Garoppolo, probably the next, I would say, next best starter available. No indication that Derek Carr is available as of right now. I would not expect him to be. I wouldn't expect the Houston Texans to trade Deshaun Watson in the division. So Jimmy Garoppolo to the Indianapolis Colts make a lot of sense.
The other thing in that report that's so important to consider, because a lot of you, when we talk about Jameis, you push back on the number. When I say, look, you just look at what quarterbacks are making, it's going to cost you $20 million per year plus to sign Jameis Winston if you're going to sign him to a 4 or 5 year deal, which somebody is going to do. Carson Wentz, Washington was willing to send 2 picks for Carson Wentz and willing to absorb his $28 million number this year. They're going to pay Carson Wentz $28 million. A guy that the Eagles gave up a buttload for to be the 2nd overall pick, and then they ship him out of town, eat a $40 million dead cap number just to get him away. He goes to Indy for a year, and now they're shipping him off after a year. And Washington's like, yes, please, we'll pay you $28 million. So if you're a Saints fan and you're going, oh, you can't pay Jameis $20 million. Yeah, you can, and you better be prepared to do it because that's what it's going to cost. But you look around and you go, okay, well, Denver settled. Green Bay is settled. Washington has their quarterback. Indy needs a quarterback, and it's likely, you just heard Rappaport there say, Garoppolo's a really good option. Seattle needs a quarterback, unless if they're good with Drew Lock, who's part of that trade. Tampa Bay needs a quarterback, unless if they stick with Blaine Gabbert. Pittsburgh still needs a quarterback. And, of course, the Saints need a quarterback. Jane Slater today tweeted about the Saints situation, and this was her report. In Saints news, quarterback. Jameis Winston still at the top of the list, the draft, and a guy like Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, but like every team still monitoring the legal process, and a wild card I brought up last year, wait for it, Mitch Trubisky. Again, that's Jane Slater on Twitter at SlaterNFL. Winston, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, Mitch Trubisky. Y'all, hopefully this is starting to crystallize for you a bit. The options aren't great. If we are legitimately sitting here a week out from the start of free agency and a month out plus from the draft, and we're talking about the possibility of Mitch Trubisky being the Saints quarterback, y'all, I could sell you on a lot and you could try to sell me on a lot. Mitch Trubisky, that ain't going to happen. For what it's worth, there's a report today that the New York Giants are interested in acquiring Mitch Trubisky. And if they do that, that's one more quarterback off the board. And maybe, the longer you wait, the more beneficial it is. Teams fill up their quarterback spot. More likelihood the best quarterback in the draft falls to you. Or maybe Deshaun Watson becomes available and there isn't as much competition for him. Lots of options, potentially. There are options potentially for waiting. But you're also reducing your options as well if one of those falls through. And it gives someone like Jameis Winston even more leverage. Mitchell Trubisky, for whatever it's worth, y'all, came into the NFL in 2017. And we know what the Bears gave up to get him and take him third overall. And he's been in the league for 5 years. Bears moved on from him after 4. Spent this past year in Buffalo, backing up Josh Allen. Maybe that was a good thing for him to go be part of an organization, a team that is winning, to be around a young quarterback that's having great success, maybe an illustration of how things should be done. And clearly the Bears organization has just not been well coached or well run. So you put a talent like that in a better situation, maybe it could work. I could argue the same with Trubisky as many might have with Jameis. The difference is Jameis had more success. Jameis had a 5,000-yard season. He had success in Tampa. Trubisky never really did. His best season was his second when he threw for 3,200 yards, 24 touchdowns, but had the 12 interceptions as well. So you're taking a mighty gamble on Mitch Trubisky if that's the guy. The one that's most interesting in that whole mix, obviously, is Deshaun Watson. But you have this big legal situation cloud hanging over his head. If that's cleared, it's a gigantic if. I put you this way. If the legal cloud is cleared from Deshaun Watson and Houston makes him available, which it certainly seems like he will be, you've got a guy that in his 4 years of playing, last year was his 5th season. He came into the league in 2017, the same class as Trubisky. But came into the league in 2017, played 4 years, sat out last year. He started 53 career games. He's got 2 4,000-yard passing seasons. In fact, in 2020, he threw for 4,800 yards and 33 touchdowns. His per-year touchdown numbers went 19, 26, 26, 33, and he's only thrown double-digit interceptions once. That was the 12 interceptions he threw in 2019. In 2020, he went for 33 touchdowns and just 7 interceptions and threw for 4,800 yards. That was a career high. Deshaun Watson, if I put it to you this way, if you had to put together the type of package that Denver just shipped to Seattle for Russell Wilson, and I said I could do that package for Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson, it's a no-brainer. There is not even a debate among any human, if there's no legal issue with Deshaun Watson, that you would give up everything Denver gave up to acquire Russell Wilson. Everything Seattle wanted, you would send to Houston as well. All the picks, all the players to acquire Deshaun Watson, because you have, if he's available, a top 5 player at that position in the entire NFL, and a guy who right now at 20, he's in his 20s. I'm looking for his birthday right now. Anyway, a guy who's in his mid-20s, a guy who's in his prime and can be your starter for a decade plus. He solves that problem for you if he's available. So maybe maybe the Saints will be rewarded. Maybe the Saints will be rewarded by waiting on Deshaun Watson. He's 26 years old, by the way. He'll be 27 in September. Maybe their patience will pay off and you end up landing a guy like Deshaun Watson. But I don't know that you can count on that in any other way. And if your options that you're talking about otherwise are Mitchell Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, sorry, I'm not sorry. Jameis still remains your best option. You can do a deal for Deshaun Watson? By all means, do it. Whatever Houston wants, give it to them. But at this point, that seems like that's the only option better than Jameis, and we don't even know if it's realistic at this point. Another day, another quarterback situation has been solved, this time in Washington with Wentz going to the Commanders. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.